It was Tuesday. There were 7 games on. Let's recap all of the NBA action, fantasy basketball, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and my favorite movie is The Bus That Couldn't Slow Down. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by someone that I forgot. No, I didn't forget. It is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Also go to LockedOnDaily.com and find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. That's LockedOnDaily.com. You're double banging this one as well. You're listening on audio, then you're sauntering over to YouTube. You're firing up the big screen. You're putting the big old bald head of mine up there, and you're watching and you're listening, and then you're doing the reverse. If you're watching the head first, you're listening to the lips later. And that is just a creepy way of saying watch and listen. Trade deadline show, 1 p.m. Thursday. I'll see you guys there. What we are doing today is talking about the games. But. Now, I did in yesterday's show or the day before, I talked about my daily preview shows that I do and how they don't get as many people watching them. Not as many people see them. YouTube doesn't push it as much. Not as many people click through on it. The numbers are all down, right? And I was debating how I'm going to do it. Now, I did not do a daily preview show for Wednesday today. That is not really related to that. I just had a very busy morning. I had family stuff and some medical appointments that I had to go to, so I just didn't have time to get that show in. So what I am going to do, if you are missing where the daily preview show is, I will not be full-throatedly going through and doing the whole thing. But at the end of this show, there will be a mini Wednesday preview. Who's out, doubtful, questionable, stream of the day stuff, and some chunky work, some schedule play. Yeah, at the end of the show. And we'll see how that goes. I will go back to the regular daily streaming format tomorrow until I figure out how I'm going to do this all long term. But that is what will happen on today's show. Okay? So let's, should we bang in? It is World Shower with a Friend Day today. I guess we're all about saving water. I'm guessing. That's okay. Whatever. Water is a very precious resource. We had another trade. No, not a second round draft pick swap between the Hornets and the Thunder. We already had one of those. We didn't get another one of them. But what we did get is a Philadelphia and Dallas trade, as old mate Nico Harrison continues to display the signs of CTE. Is he going to be proven correct? I guess we'll find out, because there was a deal. Like I said, Philadelphia, in this trade, receives my mate, briefcase, haircut. Suitcase haircut. What is it? This briefcase and this haircut. This suitcase is the other meme. Briefcase, haircut, grimy. You know what I mean. I think Quentin Grimes goes to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia also get their 2025 second round pick back. Dallas gets Caleb Martin. So on the surface, and honestly for me, the further I deep dive into it, it's the same response. It's bad for Dallas. I don't get it. And let me throw your concerns or reasonings out there. Well, they don't want to pay for Quentin Grimes. Cool. They're tight asses. Not my problem. I don't need to save their money. That's idiotic. Yes, there's a rumor that they're trying to tank the value of the franchise and threatening to move unless they can get casinos open in Dallas. Blah, blah, blah. Are they rich assholes? Yeah, they are. Could they be doing that? I don't know. Not my problem. I'm looking at this from a basketball perspective. There might be all sorts of nefarious reasons that all this stuff is happening. I don't know. But I don't understand the move from a Dallas perspective. Dallas already was sort of at a deficit of ball handlers. There was Luka and Kyrie, and then there was whatever the husk of Spencer Dinwiddie left. Luka's gone. Max Christie not a ball handler. Quentin Grimes not really a ball handler. It's Kyrie, and it's the husk. Exum's not really that guy. Hardy a little bit, but you don't really want to trust those guys. So then they don't have that. So yeah, I said Grimes is sort of a hybrid player. So they move off of him, who's having a very good season. He's 5 years younger than Caleb Martin. They give a potentially like top 10 second round pick, probably not, but not a bad second to get Caleb Martin. Now Caleb Martin puts them back into the luxury tax for this season. Caleb Martin is currently injured and has been out for 4 weeks. Caleb Martin has not played well at all. And Caleb Martin is another forward-sized player, the same as PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, Daniel Gafford, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively. Like, what are we doing? So where does he fit? What it does do is there was a slight squish, I guess, with Christie, Grimes, and Dinwiddie. And it moves Grimes out of there, but why? I don't know. He's a restricted free agent, Quentin Grimes. You can say they can't afford him. They can. They could have afforded him. They just would depend on what price they wanted to pay and all that sort of stuff. When you're restricted, you've got the ability to pay it. That's how you maneuver other things around. But the Adelsons poor, are they? Not going to pay Luka, going to move off of Grimes. They're so poor. It's a very, very weird trade for me. In terms of how the value fantasy-wise shakes out, I think Grimes has a shot. He could be a starter in Philly. But next to Maxey, George, and Embiid, that's hard to have enough value. Is he a better player long-term than Oubre? Yeah, I believe he is. Not this season, but yeah. I wouldn't be wasting an ad on Quentin Grimes. As for what does this do, we'll talk Dallas later about like Max Christie and these guys in Dallas. I don't think that it opens up enough for them to be good enough. And Martin just mixes in with Marshall and Washington and Gafford and everybody, although Gafford got hurt today. So overall, I think it's a weird trade from Dallas. The motivations for it don't seem to be, let's get better basketball-wise, which is an insane thing to do, and that's how I'm going to grade this. And I don't think there's an ad in 10 or 12-team league fantasy leagues. I would be watching it for Grimes in 12s later on, but we're not there yet. We also got two of the big-name traded players, Zach LaVine and old mate De'Aaron Foxy Fox. They're going to be available, ready to go tomorrow. So if you're ready for that, well, you should be because it's happening. Those guys will be playing in tomorrow's action. Let's take a look at the most added and dropped waiver wire players over the last 48 hours. The most added player, interestingly enough, I believe, and I haven't done it yet, but I believe this dude is going to be on the thumbnail. It's the big fella. It's Matas Buzelis. He's the most added player. Coincidental? I don't know. We've been talking about Buzelis as a must-roster player, I guess, for a week. Worked out all right so far. We'll talk more about him later. The second most added guy is the big sneeze, Precious Achiuwa. OG's out. Now, the problem here is in the next 7 days, the Knicks play twice, so I'm not going to tell you that's an exciting thing. In fact, I believe it's in the next 8 days they play twice. So long-term, no, we don't do that. Dorian Finney-Smith and Jackson Hayes, the Lakers play today. There are players out. I get it. They're going to have some run. We'll talk about that later on. I wouldn't have wasted moves on it. I wouldn't have wasted moves this week. And the next one's Zion Williams. Okay, net streaming. We get it. And then Rui Hachimura. Again, streaming. I get it. Whatever. Don't think there's long-term value in Finney-Smith, Hayes, Williams, or Hachimura at this point. But, you know, to each their own. The most dropped players. Number 1 is the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. There were some fears that I was washed because I couldn't get the Barnesy out the other day. It really sort of it sputtered like a lawnmower with no gas. I couldn't really ramp it up, but I'm back. The goats still have it. Goat. Barnes has dropped. Good. See you later. Vit Krejci and Vasilije Micic have been dropped. Krejci, fine. Although last game was encouraging. At least it showed back-end 12 value. And there was an update today on LaMelo Ball, by the way. And people freaked out about it. LaMelo Ball, no timetable to return. Remember, no timetable to return. Out indefinitely means nothing. Because the next report from the Hornets says, yeah, he's doing like on-court work right now and he'll be back. Okay? So out indefinitely means we're just not telling you when he's going to be back. But it seems like he's going to be back. He's doing on-court work. So people freaked. Oh my God, no timetable. Holy shit, what's happening? Yeah, nothing. We're good. We got the update in 1 week. W. That's what they told us they would do. They gave it to us. And they said he's progressing well and he's on the court. All right, cool. Great. Dropping mid-6 is totally okay. Totally okay. He's streamable while Ball is out and that's it. Sohan dropped. No worries. I would love for him to start over Barnes. He probably won't. That's okay. Cason Wallace dropped. Also absolutely fine. And Spencer Dinwiddie dropped. Also completely reasonable, smart, nuanced, not nuanced, just smart takes from people making those moves. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. If you're looking for tickets for your next big event, concert, comedy show, sports, game, whatever it is, finding that right ticket at the right price can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it has never been easier. How does it work? Easy. Game Time Picks does the hard work for you. It sorts through the tickets, it finds the good ones, it shows them to you. You don't have to waste your precious seconds and minutes going through tickets. Is this good? Is it bad? What am I doing here? Game Time Picks just shows you the good ones. The curated deals make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. No more sifting through thousands of options. And the seat view feature is a game changer. Before you hit buy, you can see exactly what your seat is going to look like in the venue. Well, actually, that's not true, because it doesn't show you what your seat looks like. So I go, it's blue plastic. Well, that's not nothing. What it shows you is if it puts your ass in the seat, so I hit the mic, looking straight forward. That's what it is. You're also covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's go to the first game. Dallas and Philadelphia. That's where we head, and the Sixers get a win. 118-116. Part of the value of recapping this Dallas team is all just telling you to settle down. Because, not settle down, but just, I guess, to calm some of the nerves or calm some of the hyper-aggressive reactions that might occur due to certain things, right? Because they lost. We have interesting games. Anthony Davis did not play. PJ Washington did not play. Caleb Martin did not play. And they're all going to play. So we can look at all this stuff and go, ooh, that's exciting. But maybe not. Last game, they sat everybody. Remember that. So what we had was Dan Gafford back into the starting lineup. Kyler Kelly moving to the bench. Kyrie Irving starting. Spencer Dinwiddie moved to the bench, not Dante Exum. He remained in the starting lineup. And the other person who moved to the bench was Olivier Maxence Prosper, and they kept Kessler Edwards starting. So they started with Kyrie, with Exum, Clay, Kessler Edwards, and Dan Gafford. Gafford hurt his shoulder at the end of the game. We have not got an update yet. 33 minutes, 12 and 6, which is already muted production, with 2 blocks, no assist. One of his worst games. The minutes are still good. I don't know this. I would be very concerned about that injury. It gave, the way that he sort of ran off the court very late in the game, it gave dislocation / torn labrum. And you're all well aware what that means. If that is the case, that is season over. I don't know that. Don't drop him, don't do anything stupid at all. But what it would mean, if that happens, is that Anthony Davis would start at center, PJ Washington would start at the 4, and then we get a little bit more excited about a Max Christie. But I don't know that. So we watch it. As for Christie, I like Max Christie a lot. 32 minutes, 15 and 9, 4 threes. Love that. Except Davis, Washington, Martin, all not there. And we have seen Max Christie. My big calling card cry, I guess something like that, for Christie has been, hey, if Anthony Davis or LeBron are out, I like using him for the Lakers. And you wouldn't know it, but he came here and Davis was out and PJ was out and he was good. And those guys will return and he'll likely do nothing. And I still don't know that he'll start because Najee Marshall and Caleb Martin and Klay Thompson all still exist, as does Spencer Dinwiddie. So while this is a very good game, I would not blow my ad load on getting him in this week. I would not do it because, again, there is no guarantee he plays 32 minutes. He did this taking 8 shots. And I think that we just need to see a little bit more. Kyrie played 42 minutes. He had 34, 9, and 4. That's very good. Exum played 20 minutes, so I don't know why he's necessarily starting, but 14, 1, and 4 is not bad. And Najee Marshall was also really good. 19, 4, and 5, 3 steals. But like with all this, I don't care, Najee, because you know what? There are 1, 2, 3 guys who are going to enter this rotation who conceivably play your role. Caleb Martin, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis. They're all 3/4 hybrids. And you are a 3. So Davis isn't a 3, obviously he's a 4/5. But they're all, and he's a 3/4. So that's great, Najee. You're not going to get these shots. You're not going to get those minutes necessarily. Yeah, they can take Kessler Edwards minutes and the 9 minutes of Olivier Maxence Prosper. But yeah, it's weird. All right. Clay, Very comfortable jacking him. 12 points in 30, and Dinwiddie had 7, 1, and 7 in 22. I'm just not going to be able to hold on to that when dudes come back. We'll do the Philadelphia side of this game now because we did get the big fella back. Joel Kevin Embiid. His middle name's not Kevin. What is his middle name? I do know what his middle name is, and I forget it. It's not Kevin, though, is it? Why would I say it's Kevin? It's definitely not Kevin. Anyway, someone in the chat can tell me. He was back, Embiid, and it wasn't Gershon Yabusele who moved to the bench. It was the Mayor Rookie Council IV. Let's start with Embiid, who played 36 minutes in his minutes limit. 29, 11, and 10, just a casual triple-double, but weirdly 4 of 9 from the line. All right, he won't play tomorrow, but he's back, and we'll see how long it lasts. If anyone gave me a top 40 player for Joel Embiid in a trade, I would immediately take it. Immediately. Tyrese Maxey continued again. What is going on with this guy? There is no bigger sell high that exists, but you will never get enough value in a trade to do it. He had 33 and 13 with 3 threes and 59% shooting. It's unbelievable, this run that he is on. It's unbelievable. It won't hold at this level, but also, who cares? Just enjoy it. Yabusele. He has been up and down all season. Evidenced by the fact that he's not even a top 140 category league guy. But recently, he is easily 60th, in fact, over the last 2 weeks. 19, 8, and 4. It needed 88% shooting, and it needed Paul George, Quentin Grimes, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, Kyle Lowry being out, but no guarantee that those guys are necessarily coming back. Or not coming back in the next game. I didn't even mention this at the start, and I did have it up on the screen, and I should have, but they're trading KJ Martin. Now, as soon as KJ Martin signed his contract in the offseason, you go have a look how much KJ Martin's contract's worth. It's insane. He's not worth that. He was the starting power forward for a little bit. He broke his foot. But the reason he signed that contract, they went, KJ, here's a lot of money, man. We've got this under the cap, and it gives us flexibility to be able to use you in a trade. No offense to you, but you're not worth the money. But here, have it. Enjoy it. You're in the right place, right time, and you're getting shipped off. And today, in the locker room, he came into the game, and they went, KJ, my guy, it's good to see you. Please get on your bike and piss off, or we don't want to see you again. And I'm sure they weren't that rude, but they literally, like, you'll hear all the conspiracy theories. It's happening right now. Oh, Windhorse finger memes, Kevin Durant's doubtful. No. You know what happens when someone's not playing because of a trade? The team goes, hey, he's not playing because of a trade. It's exactly what they said. They said, out, trade pending. To who? No idea. But he's not playing because of a trade. So KJ Martin's gone, I guess. 38 minutes for Justin Edwards is intriguing. 16 points with 4 threes. Good game. But like I said, no Grimes, no George, no whatever the hell happens with KJ Martin. It's hard to get massively excited, even though there are little bits and pieces there for Justin. And Oubre stunk 9 in 41. I would hold. But his value always comes because multiple players are out, not because he is good. Well, at least that's my assessment of it. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. We talk red flags all the time. What about green flags? What are your relationship green flags? You should be more focused on identifying the positive things, the things that help you build and improve, versus always the negatives. Therapy can help you identify those relationship green flags, actively practice them, and find it in your work relationships, friendship relationships, dating life, married life, whatever it is. Therapy can help you form those relationships that love you back. It helps you set clear expectations and express your needs in relationships. BetterHelp makes it easy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you can do so at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba today to get 10% off your first month. That is betterhelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. All right, so that took a long time to get through, like, one game there, so I do apologize about that, but yeah, I think we're okay. Let's go to the second game of the day. Who's the next one involved? It is the Houston Rockets and the Brooklyn Nets, and the Nets win it 99-97. Brooklyn gets the victory, and the Rockets, they're in the middle of this 5-game week, so there's going to be some weirdness going on with their rotations. We know that. What they did, though, is they welcomed back Alperen Şengün. Atari Easton was sitting on the back-to-back. They also said he will sit the weekend back-to-back, so just be aware of that. And then Aaron Holiday is the one that started, and Jayshawn Tate moved to the bench. But Holiday didn't start the second half. It was number 3 overall pick bust legend Reed Shepherd. No, he's not a bust, but he is so far. You expect more so far. But Shepherd started the second half and had a good game. 28 minutes, 16 points, 3 threes, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. And the immediate reaction from you should be, well, 2 steals and 2 blocks is fake, Josh. And I get it, but maybe not. Because part of the appeal of Shepherd in dynasty leagues, in fantasy leagues, even in real life, was absolutely abnormally insane steal and block rates. This is what he did in college. Yeah, he's a 6'1" white guy that I would look down upon. But he had crazy steal and crazy block numbers. And it happened right here. The problem here is that Eason's going to be back in the next game. He's probably going to move to the bench. Amen's going to be the starting point guard. And we're off and running with nothing going on. And Van Vliet could come back in 5 games time, 4 games time. I wouldn't burn an ad on Shepherd, but it was good to see. As for Şengün, 24 and 20, we love it. 57% from the line, not so much. Is that the buy low bump hitting already? Maybe. And then Amen Thompson played 40 minutes. 7 points is rough. But this is why we love Amen. This is why fantasy players love Amen. This is why category league people love Amen. 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. So you have a bad night shooting or you don't take many shots, who cares? Everything else gets absolutely shockers. Aaron Holiday did nothing. He was scoreless in 14 minutes, while we are at the point in the Jalen Green season, probably the 5th time we've been here, in the what are you doing point. 13 points on 14 shots with no steals and 3 threes. What's that meme that I've seen passed around a little bit on the old Twitter about Jalen? What are they calling it? Last X games, man? Where you talk about like, oh, over the last 5 games, he's doing this. And it's like, how do you do it? Well, normal 3-point shooting variance. Because that seems to be the only thing he's able to do, is have incredibly hot shooting months, and then his shot attempts go up in that time, and then he goes back to being the same dude. What has happened is the gaps between the good and the bad have shortened, but otherwise it's a lot of the same stuff for Jalen, unfortunately. Cam Whitmore did his little thing, 12 points, 24 minutes, 2 threes. Remember though, for the rest of the week, they are like so many others, in that they've got 3 games, and a lot of other teams do as well. So that 5-game advantage is gone. It's 3 games left is good, but a lot of other teams have that. So they don't have that little bonus boost situation going on. For Brooklyn, surprise victory for these guys. It was the same lineup for them, and we saw the appeal of Day'Ron Sharpe. 20 minutes, 8 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. I'd like 24 minutes out of him to feel really comfortable with using him, and I don't know if we get that. But there's at least a level of stashability there, probably behind like a Jalen Smith in Chicago. But just watch. If Claxton goes, we're all in. And then there's the 3 musketeers of bullshit. Keon Johnson, Tosan Ebwamwan, and Zaire Williams. They're the guys that seem to get the value. But is it 1 out of every 4, 2 out of every 5 that are good? Keon had 22, 4, and 2 with 2 steals. That's very good. Tosan had 14 and 4 with 4 assists. I like it. Zaire Williams had 8 points with 40% shooting. I don't like it. But he added 2 blocks. These guys are all in the mix, Keon, Tosan, and Zaire, of being 12-team options. I would like to just get the official word that Russell's done, Simmons is out, Thomas is done, Johnson's out, whatever, right? Just so we know what's going to happen more consistently. But for now, they're the names that I'm interested in. Like, not so much Tyrese Martin, who had 10 points. Jalen Wilson had 7. If you're in deeper leagues, the Vulture, Reece Beekman, first man off the bench. There was no Ben Simmons in this game. I expect that D'Angelo Russell sits tomorrow and Simmons plays. As for Russell, only 26 minutes, 10 points, 5 assists, 2 steals and a block, and shot poorly. Look at the minutes distribution. Every single player played at least 18 minutes. Nobody played 30 minutes. It's like a Popovich wet dream. Shout out to Greg Popovich, by the way, because I think a lot of us forget he's not coaching. He had a stroke and he just hasn't been there all season. And we hope he's able to come back at some point, but I don't know. So it does make it difficult. And they've got another game tomorrow where I'd expect some guys to be just taking a little bit of a break, including D'Lo. What do you do with D'Angelo Russell? I do think you have to hold him just until we get a little bit more concrete value in terms of like, is he in, is he out? Like, what is he doing? The next game is the Toronto Raptors hosting your New York Knicks. The Knicks win 121-115 against our Raptors. We'll start with the Knicks, who were without, once again, the Jedi Ojanobi, who they keep saying is a day-to-day foot sprain. I'll believe that when he actually comes back, but we'll see. The big sneeze, Precious Achiuwa, had 17 and 8. He had 3 steals and 2 blocks, 36 minutes. That is streamable, while OG is out very clearly. And then Karl Anthony Towns, one of 2 of the guys that I had on the Buy Low show today, dropped casual 2020 games. It's so interesting when I post clips or videos about Towns, talking about it buy low today, and I said, look, is it his thumb that's causing the problem? But he's slumping. I think he's a buy low, meaning I think he's going to improve. Someone's like, oh, that's really bold of you to post that after he had a 2020 game today. Is it? I think it just proves that I'm correct, doesn't it? No, I guess not. Maybe if you think that I say that he is struggling, which he literally was, means that I think he will continue to, because no, I don't. This is the buy low bump. Great to see from Townsy. Brunson had 28 with 5 assists, and Bridges had 17 points, and Josh the Hitman Hart 15, 7, and 6. But it's just the same stuff. But keep an eye on Achiuwa. Ariel, speaking of keeping an eye on Achiuwa, anyone seen her in the last 3 months? Any rugs being pulled anywhere? Does she exist anymore? I don't know. Anyway, Ariel Hukporti, 6 points, 19 minutes, 5 rebounds, better than Jericho Sims. Just a nice dynasty, keep an eye on deep league guy who's never going to play under Tom Thibodeau, but he is a player. He is a player. Just keep, obviously they're all players, but keep an eye on him. I think there's a little bit of something in Hukporti. For the Raptors, there was no Rowan Barrett, who is dealing with a concussion, so that's probably going to be a couple of games out. And then Jakob Poeltl had a hip issue. Now, that wasn't a specific incident. They just were like, yeah, he's not moving too freely, and he's been sort of managing this for a while. Managing a hip injury for a while makes me go, uh-oh. That means to me he's sitting out through the deadline, through the All-Star break, maybe, but I don't know. That's not great. I'm not saying it's because he's getting traded. I don't believe in that nonsense. But when you're a team like this that's maybe been winning a few too many games, and then your most important player, your most important player has got something that's cracking there, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. You could, if we got a diagnosis on Poeltl, reevaluate in 2 weeks, I would burn it out on Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk played 22 minutes, he had 11, 9, and 3, because you might get 3, 4, 5 weeks of really good value. You might not, but you might. There's still him, there's still Mobo, and that's the other interesting thing. John Mobo has been in the G League 4 weeks, 5 weeks, around that time. Today, miraculously called back up. You're just here available today. Not saying that Poeltl wasn't hurt. He was definitely dealing with something. They've known about it. But the fact that Mobo was called up makes me think, is this the... I went to click with the wrong finger. What is going on? There you go. Did they just go, John, not telling you anything specific, mate, but just maybe get ready. Just maybe get stretched. Because he played 23 minutes. Now, that's not good enough to value anywhere, really. But it's, again, this is as far into conspiracies as I go. As far into conspiracies as I go. There's actually, there's one, now I can't even think of it. There's one conspiracy I actually do believe in. I have to find, let me pause the video. You won't know this. As I just try and figure out what it is. Oh yeah, my conspiracy is about that mushrooms are actually an alien life form that came to Earth millions of years ago, and they're secretly growing their neural network, and they'll eventually take us over. Conspiracy or reality? You choose. It was Stuffed Mushroom Day the other day. Was that a coincidence? I don't know. So Rowan Barrett was out with a concussion. That meant that Jacoby Walter, Gary Trent III started, and I've never seen a better Gary Trent impersonation in my life. 13, 1, and 0. He hit 3 threes, he had 2 steals, and he did it because he hit 71% of his shots. This is who the man is. I know he's absolutely not, Josh, he's not Gary Trent. He's going to be really, really good. He's so good. Maybe. Until he proves it wrong, until he breaks the cycle, he's Gary Trent III. So I'm not caring about adding him. Dick had 14 points in 31 minutes. Not bad from Grady with a steal and a block. Okay, that's cool. Don't care to add him. Maybe we do it after the deadline. And Barnesy had 23, 3, and 5. Bruce Brown also, the little trade showcase is dead, I guess. 9 in 16 for him. And Ochai Agbaji did not start. And, God, he's still rostered in 16% of 12-team leagues. Why? You guys are crazy. 7 points, steal and a block for Agbaji, who remains quite bad. Oh yeah, Emmanuel quickly played 21 minutes. He had 9 points. 5 assists. The buy low is still in effect there because he hasn't ramped to full minutes yet at all. I'm not really sure when that's going to happen, but the buy low is still there. The next game, we've got a cracker here. Boston and Cleveland. The Celtics 112. The Cavs 105. Not a lot on the Boston side. Derek White was amazing in the second half. Fourth quarter, actually. 20 points with 6 threes. 2 steals and a block. We love it. But 2 of the things that we'd really been watching here. Well, 3 things we're really watching. Is Peyton Pritchard worth holding? No. 9 and 6, 3 threes, 29 minutes. Not enough. It's been not enough for a long time. Sometimes I can be a little bit quick on the trigger. Sometimes. I dropped him like 5 weeks ago. Haven't thought about it once. I didn't think once. I go, man, I wish I grabbed him back. There were a lot of things that I thought were indicators that suggested it wouldn't hold. I said Drew Holiday was going to be a drop in about week 4, I reckon. And there was a little period where it was not bad, but also wouldn't regret it. if I did it 6-6 and Pritchard closed over him. The other one we wanted to watch is that Al Horford got benched the game before. Luke Cornett played his minutes in the second half. And Horford had looked terrible. But he had 13 and 10 in 27 minutes with 3 threes. Best game in a while. Don't care. I don't think that Pritchard, Drew Holiday, or Al Horford are musts on 12s. In fact, if Al Horford was on your 12-team roster, I would forcibly remove him. I'd come to your house. I'd say hi to your mum. I'd shake hands with your dad. Give all of your little siblings a bit of a kiss on the forehead. Whatever I need to do. And then I'd take him off your roster. Because he doesn't belong there. That's Al Horford. Cleveland. On the Cavs side. What are we... Was there anything interesting in this one? There was some things that were marginally interesting, but not a huge amount. But it's always good to me when I say something and I look at it and provide the value that seems to fly in the face of recent performances, and it turns out how I think. And that's the milk Ty Jerome. And like I've said all along, I am never going to debate what happened because it happened. It happened. Ty Jerome had this really strong run. He was cooking. He's still 80th over the last 2 weeks. That's great. I just don't care because he is the 7th man on this team who needs blowouts and needs to shoot at 57% to have 12-team value. I'm not relying upon a 7th man who needs unbelievable shooting to sniff value. And today, Ty Jerome played 15 minutes because he's not their highest priority bench player. He had 5 points, he shot 4 times, he had no assists, no steals, and no blocks. And like we always say, if you added him after a couple of big games, you would have got 1 or 2 there. But you don't get the ones before. And to me, so much of it, and I make mistakes with this approach as well, but so much for me is like, okay, that's great, that happened, but what now? Where's it go? How is he playing 28 a night? Like he's not, there's no way, Josh. How is he shooting 70%? Are you kidding, Josh? It's not going to happen. So then I go, well, why would I be interested? I'm going to keep projecting him as 170th best player. There comes a point where you go, well, this just keeps happening and keeps happening and keeps happening, that it holds to a degree, but I never really got there with Jerome. I'm not saying you have to drop him, but if I had him on my roster, and I do in like a slightly deeper league, but then something opens up at the deadline, see you later, Ty. I don't need to hold you through that. Sam Merrill had 12 with 3 threes. Cool. Well, it was an absolute stinker from the koala, Evan Mobley. 7 points, 28 minutes. 21% shooting. 1 of 2 from the line. Every part of that is terrible. I don't care. It's a bad game. Should I lament it? Sure. Will I cry about it? A little bit, yeah. But it doesn't change any sort of evaluation whatsoever. Jarrett Allen had 17 and 18. Don Mitchell had 31 and 10 with 6 assists and 4 threes. I've had some wild arguments about Jarrett Allen recently, talking about the Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford trade, where people are like, because someone said, the Cavs envisage, the Mavs and Cavs, the Mavs envisage a Gafford Davis combination as like Allen and Mobley. And I'm like, that's all well and good, guys, but Daniel Gafford's nothing like Jarrett Allen. And there are people who are like, yeah, the easy he can be. I got you. Daniel Gafford's a bench big. Jarrett Allen's an all-star caliber center. And there's either an overrating of Dan Gafford, yes. And there's an underrating of Jarrett Allen, also yes. Garland was good. Mitchell was good. Max Strus played and didn't do much. 29 minutes, 2 points. Steal. Whatever. Not someone that I think you need to be feeling super good about holding. And Levert had 0 points in 17 minutes. And we absolutely do not roster Karis Levert in 12-team leagues. Now we get to the big one. Miami Heat, the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls win it 133-124. Wow. Okay. Let's start with the Miami side of this game. They were able to go in with the same starting lineup. We still have absolutely no idea what is happening with Jimmy Butler apart from the fact that he might not get traded. Khalil Ware, 31 minutes for Superman, 17 and 12. That's not a mind-blowing game. It's still really good. He's still a must-roster player without any question at all. Tyler Herro started cold, got hot late, ended up with a really good line. 23, 8, and 9. Inefficient, but great free throws. And then we get the spolsterness of it. Duncan Robinson played 11 minutes. He had 3 fouls in that time, but 11 minutes. He's been starting and playing 27, and he is rostered in just an astonishing amount of leagues. He's Duncan Robinson. He had 8 points. He had 2 threes. He is a 3-point streamer. He is better Gary Trent. But he's not a must-roster guy, and we got spolstered hard here. And with him getting limited, we had the big fella, Alec Burks, moving back into the rotation. Cool. That meant Pele Larson was out. Burks had 9, 4 and 2, 2 steals, 3 threes. Solid game from Burksy. I just don't think we'll react to it. It was also a better game from Triple H, Jaime Jaquez Jr. 14, 4 and 5, shot well from the line. Overall, though, I'm not running to add him in 12s. I think you know that. Bam had 23, 8 and 4. Pretty good game from him. And Highsmith had triple one. Good. Terry Rozier has played big minutes for 3 in a row. 2 of those games were very good, and this one was not. 5 on 17%. Yuck, Terry. Yuck. In fact, some might say that is very scary. Do we roster Terry Rozier? I don't think so. You could have done it, but again, this is not worth burning a move. And if something comes up because of a deadline move, and you want to drop Terry Rozier because you added him, totally do it. It's okay. He's seemingly going to be very inconsistent. Whether that holds or not, I don't know. The Bulls. No Zach LaVine, obviously. The traded players are not here and they won't be there till Saturday. They're not impact guys. It's Trey Jones, it's Vanderpants, it's Zach Collins. There might be more trades coming. There was a report from Joe Cowley, who I can't stress to you enough. He's probably top 5 of reporters who make shit up. So I wouldn't, don't make shit up, just talks crap a lot, right? So I don't believe everything that Joe Cowley says. All right, makes things up is harsh. But I just don't trust his reporting as much as I do others. But he said the Bulls, this one actually do believe from Joe. He said the Bulls have been trying to trade Vooch, and shockingly enough, that they haven't found the right value out there in a trade. I wonder why that would be. I wonder why. A, because he's not very good, and B, his contract is too much, and C, you guys are ridiculous to trade with. By ridiculous, I mean you guys don't know what you're doing. So now it's maybe they'll have to keep him. Yeah, as always. I don't know if someone gets traded, they might stay. Things change all the time. We can have ideas of things that might happen. Doesn't mean it happens. Let's start with the GOAT, Nick Vucevic, who played his usual 33 minutes, in fact, and had 12 and 10 on 39%. He missed both of his free throws. Yeah, he's been very good all season. He makes all of our houses a house of lies by the shooting numbers. And this was just a bad game. And where his rest of season goes is anybody's guess. Jalen Smith was sort of productive, 8 and 4, but we really obviously need him to start to hit his value. I still would prefer him over Zach Collins. Lonzo played 29 minutes. I love that. No guarantee that Lonzo plays tomorrow, but 5 and 5 for him. That's not very good. 22% is not very good. But I like the 29 minutes, and I would hold him. Ayo Dosunmu, this is where we get the differences, right? Ayo Dosunmu played 29 minutes, had 21, 2 and 9, steal and a block. Unbelievable game from Dosunmu. But, if Lonzo shot 22%, Dosunmu shot 73%. Now, Dosunmu is a more efficient player than Lonzo, but they're ones wow, that's amazing, and that's what's that? They're way down and way up, and they got to push together a little bit more. I think both Dosunmu and Ball are 12-team league guys. But the differences between them in this game is not a realistic level of difference between them as we move forward. Kobe White was good, 22, 3 and 7. Josh Giddey was good, 24, 5 and 7. 4 players scored 20 points. I haven't mentioned one of them. It's Buzelis. Now, people often accuse me of being salty towards players or downplaying production. And one of the common retorts is, shout out to BDNR, by the way, Nick Richards, the commentary on that, unbelievable. Loved it. You're just salty, you didn't add him. This is what you say when you don't add him. You missed out. You missed out on Richards, and look what you're saying. Oh my God, you missed out. Yeah. Well, I didn't miss out on Buzelis. I grabbed him everywhere. So now you're going to be able to see how objective my reporting is. Buzelis has got an outside shot at being the MVP this season. I think this is the beginning of a Hall of Fame run. And if you missed out on him, well, I don't know what you were doing. It was very obvious. He is the best Bulls player currently right now. And I think this is a league-winning move. Simple as that. Totally unbiased. 24 points for Buzelis, 10 of 10 shooting, 2 blocks, 4 threes. Now, of course, that was all taking the piss. I have been telling you that I like grabbing Buzelis. Main reason I've liked grabbing Buzelis is the minutes have all been pushing up. And he leads the Bulls in blocks already in this low minutes role. But I'm not going to lie to you. I won't. Because in the world where Zachary Ricochet exists, this is a game where nothing else is going on. The blocks is good. 3 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, yuck. And he needed to shoot 10 of 10 to get there. And let's say he shot 5 of 10, 5 points fewer. 5 of 10, 5 shots fewer, 10 points less. Let's make one of them a 3, 11 points less. And then he's at 13, 3 and 0 with 2 blocks. It's fine. It's fine. He's a back-end sort of a player whose minutes are rising, continue to rise. I hope he gets the start very soon. I don't think it really matters that much. But let's pump it back. Part of the reason why you can get so over the top is excitement and aggressiveness and ridiculous overvaluations. There is the bare bones value of a good fantasy player here, though, unlike BDNR. There is the value here with Buzelis. But this game, this is lies. This is all lies. He's never shooting like that. He can be a better rebounder. He is a good shot blocker. He will get you a little bit of shooting, although it's way up. He's good to add, but be cautious about how you value him. And that's how I believe, provide an unbiased evaluation of a player. Let's knock the top off the last two games, both blowouts. The Lakers taking care of business against the Clippers, 122-97. They're still obviously waiting for Luka to arrive. Maybe it's the weekend, maybe it's the start of next week. So they had no Max Christie. They already had no Anthony Davis. So it was really about what they were going to do replacing Christie. I thought it would be Gabe Vincent. I thought wrong. It was actually Dorian Finney-Smith, as they just went super big balls with forwards everywhere. So Finney-Smith, Hachimura, Hayes, Reeves, and James. Calling LeBron as just James sounds stupid, but I did it. I'll own it. Let's talk about what happened in the Lakers game. Let's start with the production of Finney-Smith. Again, this is a blowout. It's 25 points or whatever. Finney-Smith, I believe, will overtake Rui Hachimura at some point in the starting group when Doncic is there, because I just think they need the three-point shooting, the defensive abilities, but not yet. We're not at that stage yet. Finney-Smith played 24 minutes, 7, 4, and 2. You don't need to add him. With guys out, Rui Hachimura is doing a lot. Now, that's cool. You can use him short-term. I do not think it's there long-term. 20 and 6 with 4 threes. Very good game from Hachimura. Austin Reeves also going to lose value. Your sell high window, it's here now, and that's about it. 26 and 9, while LeBron had 23, 8 and 9 with 3 steals. Good games all around. It was also a better game from Dalton Connect. He had 14 points. He hit 2 threes, and 16 teams passed on him in the draft. And that's okay, because they didn't miss out on that much. Don't worry about adding him. While Vanderbilt Bar had a steal, that's what he does. And Gabe Vincent had 12 points with 4 threes. Not a lot to really worry about there. Again, this team is incomplete. They might make more moves tomorrow. And Doncic just changes so much about who they need on the court and what everyone else gets to do. So while, yes, it's good that we got a big Rui game, it's interesting that Reeves was big. It's good that Dorian Finney-Smith started just as an idea, but it doesn't mean that it's something that necessarily goes forward when Luka arrives. The Clippers, Norman Powell returned. He was back in the starting lineup, as you would expect, and that meant that Amir Coffey went to the bench, and they just got cooked. Kawhi played just 22 minutes, 11 and 6 with 3 blocks, whatever, shot poorly. Derek Jones continues to be really good. I don't really know how he keeps doing it, and 17 points in 22 minutes is not the Derek Jones way. And after the deadline, I'd be okay with considering him a stream guy. Not that into it, though. Storm and Norman Powell was fine. It's a very Norman Powell line. 20 points with no steals, 2 rebounds. Shot fine without being great. We talked about him quite a bit on the Sell High show earlier today, and it was an absolute disaster from James Harden. 30 minutes for 7 points. 17%. That stinks, very obviously. He did only have 1 turnover, for those of you who froth that. He had 9 assists and 2 steals. Just a bad game. It's a bad game in general for this team. So much garbage time involved in it. Kevin Porter only played 13 minutes, though. We don't need to worry about it too much. It was interesting that Chris Dunn was back. He had 4 assists and 3 steals. And again, but how do we know how it all impacts everything? Because this was a blowout. Drew Eubanks only got garbage time minutes. Keep an eye on that. Mo Bamba was basically out of the rotation with his perfect knees as well. His knees are so perfect, no NBA team wants to employ him because he's going to make everyone else's knees feel embarrassed. So that's why he got cut by the Jazz. But Eubanks not in the rotation. The final game of the day, another game which ended up a blowout, because of course it did, because that's what happens when you go up against Chauncey Billups and the Portland Trailblazers. 89, Indiana. 112, Portland. How this keeps happening, I'll never know. Because the thing about it is not even the same thing every game. Something random happens and then the other guys step up. We'll talk Indiana first, who scored 89 points. And let's start with the robust performance from Tyrese Halliburton, who scored 0 points. He played 25 minutes. To be fair to him, or also to be accurate, he was bad. That's accurate. That's fair. But also to be fair, when you have a bad game and you get 6 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks, I'm okay with it. He'd been playing much better. This is not good, don't get me wrong. This is a very bad game. But it's very different going like 2, 1, and 0 versus having 6 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks when you can't get anything going offensively. Bad game, though. Siakam was on the sell high show. The sell high slumps came in hard. 43% from the field, 16 and 6 steal and a block. This is Siakam. And Nembhard was very good. 17 and 6 with 2 steals and a block. He is playing quite well and probably should be on rosters at the moment, even though my long-term trust of it's not exactly there. Neesmith only played 17 minutes and Mathurin had 12 and 7 in 29. Neither Neesmith nor Mathurin. Mathurin's 97% rostered on Basketball Monsters' advanced roster number. What are you guys doing? 97, please. Guys, you're wasting your time. No, absolutely not. Why is he being rostered? That is, I didn't realize it was that high for Mathurin. Please, God, can you stop something? I need everyone above to take some sort of like intervention. Lightning strikes on people's houses who've got him on their roster. Gnats, frogs, pestilence, something. It needs to end. Miles Turner returned from his someone left me a message saying, hey, you were talking about Miles Turner's perineum and you missed out the perfect pun of calling it Turner and Gooch, which honestly, I wish I came up with Turner and Gooch. Unbelievable stuff from that guy who chucked that through to me. Loved it. I think his name was Jake. Apologies if it wasn't Jake, but Turner and Gooch, unbelievable. But his Gooch is fine, and he played 30 minutes. That meant that Tom Bryant went to the bench and was bad again. You'd be shocked to know. He sucks. TJ had 14, 4, and 4. That's great. I don't really care that much. He's a useful player when somebody is out and nobody is out. So, what about Portland? This team, the little engine that could. Every game that they play, every little step they take, I'm watching them, but also I wonder whether it's going to just mean that they just keep pushing and they don't shut guys down. Scoot, only 28 off the bench. But at the moment, it honestly doesn't matter. 17, 8, and 5 with 3 threes for Scooter. That's big, man. He is, I don't know that he's a star. I don't know that he's going to be a star. But you watch him play now and you go, oh yeah, like you came from the G League and then you were a rookie point guard and now maybe you're figuring it out. Yeah, I like it. I don't like Shaedon Sharpe that much. Look, that game was fine. 17, 4, and 1. Maybe he got scared looking at his Canadian brethren on the other side and saying, well, I don't want to become Ben Mathurin, because that's sort of what he might be. But that's an okay game. Not sure he's a must-roster guy. Jeremy Grant scored 20, but in true Jeremy Grant fashion, everything else is trash. 2 rebounds and bad shooting. I don't think he's a 12-team league player. And then 2 interesting things happened. Well, let's talk about this one, actually. Tamani Kamara, I had him on the sell high show today, and a lot of people responded to that. No one's buying him, man. It's not a sell high. Don't care. The idea of a sell high doesn't mean, like, someone doesn't necessarily have to trade for him. Now, people will trade for him at some point, but it's more of the idea of, hey, this will hold, or this won't hold. Now, today, it did. Absolutely. He shot 71% again. 13 and 7, steal and a block. If anyone wants to trade for him, you do it. But they might not, and that's totally cool as well. He was good. DeAndre Ayton, though, we talked about and gave him praise yesterday. I guess it's what happens when you don't play against your former team. You just can do nothing. 8 and 9, shout out revenge games. 2 steals and a block for Ayton. He got really early foul trouble and he didn't start the second half. But this is what I mean. Somehow this team of destiny, no matter what happens, Ayton gets into foul trouble. They decided at the start of the game that Donovan Clingan wasn't even going to play. By the way, drop him. What are you doing? Drop him. And they started Robert Williams in the second half. And the Rock DJ played 24 minutes. He had 4 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks. If he somehow found a way to play 24 minutes, we'd roster him. It won't happen in Portland, obviously, but everything sort of came together here. They'd already decided Clingan wasn't playing. Ayton got in foul trouble. Williams stepped up. Stashing, maybe. My confidence in him is low. Then also yesterday, I was like, all right, I was very skeptical of Denny Avdia. I was a bit worried. I didn't think he was as good as other people did. I didn't know where the minutes would come from. I was worried and said, maybe I was wrong. I think I was wrong. So he had 6 points in 23 minutes today. He shot 22%. He had no steals and no blocks. And I go, yeah! If only I had held off on my admittance. Now, to be fair, he's been good. But I will say this about Avdia, right? That stinks. That's a bad game. Don't drop him. They're starting him. It's working out well nearly every game. I still don't think there's star upside in him. I don't think he's a number 2 player on a good team. I think he's a number 3 at best. But what is very interesting, and again, this will fall through because the general prevailing narrative is that Denny is sick and he is awesome and he is great. His last 4 games, he has played 23 minutes, 44, 22, and 25. He has scored 11, 10, 24, and 6 points. He has shot 25, 43, 67, and 22. He has hit just 5 threes from 12, 14, 18 attempts. But the most important thing is, where are the minutes? He's had 1 steal in 4 games. So while, he was playing huge minutes and he was rolling, he's actually been bad. The last 4 games have been bad. And that's not true. There's 1 good game in there. But over that last week, incredibly small sample size. And I'm not saying it's a long-term worry. 28 minutes, 144th ranked fantasy player. Not dropping him, not doing anything silly, but always my concern was, how do you squeeze the minutes? How do we get enough? And we're not getting enough the last week. Hold him. It will probably bounce back. But yeah, it's just something to watch. I don't think there's much else there. Simon's had 22 with 7 assists. Pretty good game. Doesn't take many free throws anymore, but a pretty good performance nonetheless. All right, should we give out some awards? Let's do it. The monstrous line of the night. It does go in this one to Tyrese Maxey, who has been just absolutely remarkable over the last 2 weeks. 33, 13 assists, and 2 steals. Your waiver wire line of the night, the best performance from an under 40% rostered player. We're going with Ayo Dosunmu, 21 and 9, with 73% shooting. Your young gun of the night, the best first or second year player, is actually Ayo Dosunmu's teammate. I think you know who it is. It's Matas Buzelis, who went 10 of 10 from the field, 24 points with 2 blocks. And then your dud of the night is Portland's Matas Buzelis. It's the aforementioned Denny Avdia. 6-3, or 6-4 and 1. Bad game. Struggled. It's okay. We shake it off and hope that this recent trend is not something that is going to continue. All right, so now this is what I was talking about earlier on in the show, where I want to have a look at some of the stuff for tomorrow with some updated injury reports. Who's out for Wednesday? Got a big list here. Again, it's presented a little bit differently because I'm just trying something a bit differently. So LaMelo Ball is out. Cody Martin is out. Clint Capella and Bogdan Bogdanovic are out. Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson, Joel Embiid is out. KJ Martin is out. Alex Sarr, Rowan Barrett, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Herter, Julius Randle, Colin Sexton, who's out at least a week with that ankle sprain, by the way, and that might be droppable. It's also Collier and George time. Cody Williams, Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, Brandon Ingram, and the Hong Kong mattress, Cason Wallace. And then we look at some doubtful guys. I'm putting Jakob Poeltl on this list. I doubt that he plays after hurting himself today. I didn't actually write it up there, but Lonzo Ball and Emmanuel Quickley, doubt they play on the back-to-back. Kevin Durant. Now, people think that he's being traded because he's listed doubtful with an ankle injury. He is not. He sprained his ankle yesterday. He's doubtful to play. So Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen values rising. Jalen Suggs doubtful again. Cam Johnson, no update on him, but he didn't play today. I don't think he plays. Now, there's also word that maybe the Nets may not trade him away. I don't think Cam Johnson plays. I'll put him doubtful, and I don't think D'Angelo Russell plays. And then a bunch of guys that are questionable. Isaac Okoro, Vasilije Micic, Yanni and Dame are both questionable for Milwaukee after they missed the last game. I think that they're fine and they'll be available, but watch it. Chris Paul is questionable in the game that De'Aaron Fox is making his debut. That's annoying. I would like Chris Paul to play so I could see what the interplay is, but watch that. Paul George, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Kyle Lowry all didn't play for the Sixers today. Maybe they play tomorrow. Quentin Grimes, he was in Philly, so maybe he can just quickly suit up and get ready. We'll keep an eye on him. Brandon Clark, Marcus Smart, questionable for the Grizzlies. Boucher, questionable for the Raptors. Moses Moody is questionable for the Warriors. And then, wouldn't you know it, but Lowry Markkanen is questionable for the Jazz. Aaron Gordon, who missed the last game due to a back-to-back, they listed him questionable. I believe they're lying. I'm pretty sure he's playing. And then Daniel Tice, questionable. And the Bronco, Jalen Williams, is still questionable for Oklahoma City. So let's take a look at 6 streaming options. Again, do not use your moves. Do not stream in for an 11-game Wednesday. Don't do it. But if you were to do it, here are some names that are available in different sort of league sizes. Not exactly the same format as the other shows, but Mike Conley, Zaire Williams, Ben Simmons, who I expect to play, Keon Johnson, Royce O'Neal, and Patrick Williams, all category league value streamers. Buzelis is not on this list because he's already at 66% advanced roster, which to me suggests he's grabbed most places. In points leagues, though, he's sitting at like 20% rostered Buzelis. So he's one of my top 6 points league streamers, along with Zaire Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, Keon Johnson, Matas Buzelis, Isaiah Collier, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. we can now have a look at some schedule-based action, and this is the chunky part. We take a look at the next 5 days, who's got 3 games in that time. Collier, Dort, O'Neal, Aaron Wiggins, Alexander Walker, and Grayson Allen. These guys have 3 games next 5 nights and are all 60% plus available on Yahoo. And the last part we look at here are the 5s and the 2s. So over the next 7 days, are there any teams that play 5 games? Are there any teams that play 2 games? And the answer is yes. Both the Clippers and the Knicks play just 2 games over the next 7 days, beginning on Wednesday through the next Tuesday. So if you're considering streaming a Precious Achiuwa or an Amir Coffey or Kevin Porter or whoever it is, the schedule does not align well for those guys whatsoever. So again, apologies for the not fully daily preview show today, but that is just a little glimpse of some of the info that you get there. So I hope that worked okay for you. Hit the thumb on the video, subscribe, drop all of your comments down below. Also, don't forget to have yourself a good day. Don't stress out about fantasy basketball decisions or things that you've made that are wrong or right or whatever. Don't stress about it. Keep yourself going positively. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.